Council. Item number 13.1 is a council-initiated item, and I will hand this over to Councilmember Lothian.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I can't drive from point A to point B ever and not have encounters with homeless people or homeless encampments. And my fear is that if we continue the status quo, which is outreach and then trying to find some small housing, we're going to find ourselves with more and more homeless. I feel sorry for people that have to live out in the elements, but I also, when I hear people talking about the homeless issue, it never seems to involve input from the business community or from neighborhoods. It's always from the perspective of what can we do for more services, more outreach, more medical care, and that's fine, and that has to be part of it. But I think we also have to include what's happening to the community. So another thing that I keep seeing is for years, cities are building these homeless hotels, and I'm not trying to solve the problem. I have no idea how you would solve the root problem, but I do know that I believe that if the first priority is what can we do to stop frustrating the community having to deal with homeless encampments and homeless people everywhere, what can we do? And so I have a real estate friend who has a listing out in Campo, and this property is fascinating. So this is the property out in Campo. It's a former Army barracks. It housed the Buffalo Soldiers.
I cannot even think of how many reasons I would not second this, so I will just shut up and see if anybody else seconds it.
Okay. All right.
Questions?
Yes, we have 8 hands raised.
I actually went by the sheriff's station twice today to try to speak to them and see if they were aware of this proposal, which when I finally spoke to them, they were not, and also very concerned. I was not able to see anyone at the sheriff's station the first 2 times I went by. It's not regularly staffed. We do not have the resources to support that. Sending the MOU mentioned that it was supposed to be in their community, in their own community. But sending them from La Mesa to unincorporated areas is not within your own community. Additionally, as a real estate agent, I would think that the councilwoman would understand the lowering of property value that would create for our entire 200 home plus development.
Who actually determines on who's going to be allowed to be in this home? Who's vetting them, for one? And what happens if they don't follow protocol? Where do they go after that? Are they going to be just released out into Campo? Or are they going to be sent back to whatever homeless encampment that they came from? Because out here, there's hardly any jobs out here at all.
From La Mesa to Campo is about 50 miles away. To this location, and as Councilmember Lothian said, is out in the middle of nowhere, away from food assistance, away from employment assistance. This is by bus, a little over 2 hours as I mapped it out on my Google Maps. It's pretty much the out of sight, out of mind mentality, which really isn't a solution, and we definitely need to mix it up within the community so that everybody can serve as neighbors and support.
This is, in my opinion, a terrible, terrible option. Councilwoman, you said that all these homeless people were spitting, smearing their feces on things. That's going to happen up here. You're not. This is not solving the problem. It's just relocating that same problem up to where there's going to be no help from.
If you don't have anything to back that up to support the homelessness up here in the middle of nowhere, you're not solving the problem. So unless you guys have a plan to build a hospital, to build multiple sheriff stations, to build more than one fire station, to build a grocery store. I don't see how this can help solve the problem other than you're taking the problem that's occurring in La Mesa and Spring Valley and Santee and El Cajon, and you're just moving it out to the middle of the nowhere so that you guys are out of sight, out of mind.
And the resources, like I said, are extremely limited out here. From my point of view, it seems like they just want to take the eyesore away and move it somewhere else. They're not resolving the problems or the issues by bringing them out here to the East County.
We need to solve our problems by addressing them, not by shipping them out to other people. Looking at the proposal, I was struck by the fact that it calls on the city of La Mesa to address or to investigate potential interest by other East County regional governments and or private agencies. But there's no mention of discussing this with the people of Campo or people in the homeless community or advocates in the homeless community. Would homeless people even be interested in being shipped 40 minutes out of La Mesa into a place that they are completely unfamiliar with? That's a question that should be asked. If we're going to spend millions of dollars, and assuming this is a voluntary program, would anyone even choose to do it? The La Mesa Citizen Task Force on Homelessness has done incredible work. We need to stick with their plan and not try to go on crazy ventures like this.
I chair the local planning group, Campo Lake Marina Community Planning Group, and I was astonished to find this agenda item here, and having had no one reach out to the planning group whatsoever for the kind of solid, concrete guidance we could have provided. If you are considering going forward on this, please make consultation with the community an absolute requirement for going forward. Secondly, I'm not even sure your agenda item is correct. Many people who read this initially read this as Joel Anderson having approved you guys moving forward on this project. That's counter to the Brown Act. According to Mr. Anderson's office, no such approval has been given. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Item number 13 is closed because it received no second.
May I make one comment?
Sure.
Okay, first of all, it's dead, so... But
Right.
no, I'm just going to go a minute, because... Okay, well, no, but what I want to say is I was never going to be an agent on the transaction, so there would have been no commission. I also targeted the area because I thought it would be a place where people could farm and do animals and build houses, and that would help the economy, because when you have a depressed economy, and you get that in Far East County, and you get an infusion of millions of dollars from the government, you do build the medical clinics, and you do build the schools, and you could do that. And I was just like, again, wanted to explore a huge parcel that used to be an Army barracks, instead of just people living on dumpsters and living in parking lots. I'm glad the people called in. They gave very valid arguments, and I'm happy to hear it.
Item 14, Council Committee Reports. Vice Mayor Shu.